Nope.
I'm terrified. I think it's still out there, and I don't know what to do. I've tried calling the cops, and they told me they sent someone over, but it's been almost an hour, and still, nobody has shown up. It's out there. I know it. It's after me. It started as I was leaving my friend's house after a late night of hanging out. I got into my car, turned the ignition, buckled up, and got ready to drive off when I noticed a man walking down the street. His movement was off. It was like he was drunk, but even then, I've never seen a drunk person walk so awkwardly. He bounced with every step, and his upper body seemed to sway in different directions. I decided not to think too much of it, but locked my door just in case he tried anything. I put my car into drive and started to move forward slowly until I began to pass him on my left. As I passed him, I gave him a quick glance over to see what his deal was. That's when I noticed he had his head turned towards me, and I saw his face. Two black holes staring lifelessly back at me. It had no mouth, and as I drove by it, I froze with fear. My foot began to slowly press harder on the gas pedal until my car sped up and I put some distance between me and this thing. I glanced over at my side view mirror, and there it was, still standing in the road, staring in my direction. My veins went cold as ice as I was overwhelmed with dread. There was a stop sign coming up, and without thinking, I blew right through it, not wanting to be stopped anywhere near that thing. I had to warn my friend. After all, this happened almost right outside of his house. I called him several times, but he didn't pick up. I was debating whether I had the courage to go back and check on him as I was pulling up on the first intersection. That's when I noticed a figure across the road. This figure was moving towards me and approaching the crosswalk. As I neared the streetlight, I squinted to get a better look. My silent fears were confirmed, and I was able to make out that same jangly movement, and in an instant my heart sank. This couldn't be real. I must have fallen asleep at my friend's place. I had to be dreaming. It was getting closer, dipping and bumbling with every step. Its lifeless black eyes fixed onto me. I could hardly breathe. I was so scared. I felt like an elephant was on my chest, and I could feel myself starting to slip into unconsciousness. It was in that moment that my fight or flight response kicked in, and I floored it. My car began to accelerate as fast as it was able to. As I was beginning to drive past it, the figure suddenly jumped right in front of my car. I braced myself for the impact, but there was none. And it just vanished. I checked my rearview mirror again, frantically searching for some idea as to where it could be, but it was just gone. I wanted to head home, but I didn't feel safe. Whatever this thing is, it was following me, and I didn't want to risk leading it to my house. I thought about going to the police, but there was no way in hell they would believe me. They'd probably throw me out and assume I was crazy or on drugs. In the end, I decided to drive straight on the highway for a while, and stop at a motel a good distance from the city. After driving for some time, I pulled into the parking lot of some small place and checked outside my windows for any sign of that thing. I saw nothing and decided to make a break for the front lobby. I ran to the front door and yanked it open with great haste and almost jumped inside. The front desk manager was glued to his monitor and almost jumped when I came bursting in. He looked at me with a puzzled look which seemed to be an invitation to tell him my troubles. "Is everything okay, sir?" I was frantically looking around as I slowly approached the counter. I think someone's following me. Maybe I lost them. It's been a while since I've seen them, but I know they're following me. I could see the concern on his face, and behind that, a growing look of skepticism. "If you're concerned someone is following you, and that you might be in danger, you should call the police. Would you like me—"
No,
I cut him off.
it's fine. Just let me get a room for the night.
He nodded apprehensively and sold me the room. I read my room number and began to walk out when he called to me. "Hey, if you need anything at all, feel free to give me a call. I'll be here all night." I nodded and thanked him, then continued to open the door and walk outside. I stepped outside and quickly glanced around. Nothing. I headed straight to my room, ever fearful that this thing would appear suddenly. I jogged up to my door, swiped the key, and quickly went inside, locking and bolting the door behind me. I felt relief wash over me. I was no longer entirely alone, and I felt somewhat safe now that I hadn't seen this thing since the stoplight near my friend's house. Maybe it just went away. I thought back to my friend. I began to wonder if maybe it could have made its way towards him. That thought was quickly expelled as I was snapped back into reality by a loud bang on my front door. I froze and slowly turned facing the noise and waited. Again, another loud bang. My eyes widened, my body awash with fear once more. I walked up slowly to the door and pressed my ear to the cold wood, holding my breath and listening closely. I heard nothing and decided to peek out through the peephole. I didn't see anything, just black. I stared for a moment, perplexed, wondering what happened to the many lights out front, when a realization hit me, and suddenly my legs went weak and I collapsed to the floor. It was that thing. It had its eye up to the hole and was staring back at me. I crawled away from the door towards the foot of the bed. The banging started once more, growing louder and louder. Tears began to roll down my face, and I began bawling, pleading with it to leave me alone, when suddenly it stopped once more. I sat there, staring at the door, still sobbing, my body feeling numb. I tried to collect myself and began wiping away my tears when suddenly the door began to stretch out towards me from the center. It was bending as if it was made out of plastic or rubber, and someone was pushing it from the other side. I couldn't take it, and once again my instinct kicked in, and I managed to get on my feet and bolted into the bathroom. I slammed the door shut behind me, pulled out my cell phone, and called the hotel, hoping to speak with the front desk employee. It rang twice, and then he picked up. "Hello, and thank you for calling. How may I assist you tonight?" he said calmly. "Yeah, I just checked in maybe 10 minutes ago, and I need you to look towards my door. Do you see anything standing there? Is there anyone or anything there?" I asked him desperately as I was wiping snot from my nose. "Sir, is everything all right? I don't see anybody out there. Do you need me to call the police?" I paused and took a deep breath. I briefly put down the phone and pressed my ear against the door and listened. Nothing. I returned to the phone. "Yes, please call them. Someone has been following me, and they were just at my door. I'll call the police too. Please be careful. If you see a man walking oddly, like he's drunk or something, don't look at him. Don't talk to him. Don't even let him in." Another pause. "Sure. Okay. Give me a call if you need anything else. I'll keep a lookout for you, and I'll let you know if I see anything suspicious. Be safe, bud, and try to get some rest." I heard the phone click, and instantly I felt alone once more. He probably thought I was insane. However, it doesn't matter at this point. I stared at the wall, trying to process everything, and decided to call the police. This thing, whatever it is, cannot be natural. I don't know if the police can even help, but it's all I have. I called the local department and an officer picked up. I decided to tell them that I thought I was being stalked and that a man had followed me for some distance to this motel and was banging on my door. They sounded skeptical, but he assured me that they would send a guy to check out the area for any suspicious activity, and that if anything else happened, to call them immediately. It was something, and I just hoped that they followed through and sent someone over. It's been some time since I started writing this, and no one has come. I haven't heard any odd sounds, but that thing is still out there, and every sound I do hear is making me jump with fright. I'll stay up a little longer to see if the officer shows up. If not, I'll have to try and get some sleep. The sun is going to rise soon. I just have to make it until then. Hello, dear listener, and thank you for making it to the end of this week's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to hit that like button down below, and if you're not subscribed, be sure to do so for future videos. So, quick thing guys, I've been listening to some other horror narrators, and a lot of them are concerned for the current state of YouTube. Now, I'm not worried about monetary gain at this point in my YouTube career, but what I am concerned about is the risk of my channel being shut down. I know it's happened to some people already, and that sucks, because they had a much bigger following than myself. Now, I don't think I'm big enough to draw the attention of people trying to claim copyright at this point, but in the future, as the channel continues to grow, the risk remains that at any point, someone can come along and claim copyrights on a lot of my videos. So, to be safe, I'm going to promote my second channel, Captain Creepy. Now, if, God forbid, anything does happen, that second channel that's primarily used for Let's Plays and other miscellaneous videos will become the primary channel for my horror stories. I'm really hoping it'll never come to that, but I'm going to leave a link in the description to follow that channel now. And if you want to follow it just to be safe, go ahead and do so. I'd appreciate it. Alright, Freaky Fam, remember to stay safe out there. I'll be seeing you in the next video.